Welcome back to Mortgage Chicks with Hot Tips. I'm Diana Harvey.
I'm Elizabeth Hole.
I'm Kim Hairsted.
I'm Cindy Walker.
And I'm Stacy Van Skank.
Today we're going to talk about source of funds, where you're getting your cash to close. But before we get started, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode.
Source of funds. Can I just let out a big sigh? As a loan officer, that is one of the toughest parts of our jobs, ladies. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Documenting source of funds.
And let me just say real quickly, one of the things that I always love when we have this conversation is, well, I don't need the money till closing, right? No.
Or the
Yeah.
check cleared.
The quicker we can document it, the easier it's going to make for all of our jobs. Source of funds, that's the reason we ask for your most recent 2 months bank statements, because we want to see if there's any large deposits in your bank account, where the funds came from. We have to document it. The guidelines are on conventional loans, we have to document source of funds for any deposits over 50% of our qualified income. So if your income is $5,000 a month on your application and there's a deposit of $2,500 or more, we have to document it. So if it came from sale of a pregnant snake, which I've had, they had to x-ray the babies and the babies were $2,500 a piece, then we got to document it. We got to document the sale of those babies and where it came from.
God, that is the strangest story I've ever heard. Cindy, I got to tell you, 23 years, I love that one.
Stories for source of funds. I just had to throw that out there because I literally had it.
That one's one of the best.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We saw an X-ray, curled up snakes. I mean, literally. That's my biggest fear of snakes. So that was creepy. And on FHA and VA, we have to document your source of funds if the deposit is more than 1% of the sales price. So just a rule of thumb, large deposits, we're going to have to document them.
Hey Cindy, like when I send you my bank statement, you don't have to have every page, do you? Can I just take a picture of a screenshot on the computer with my cell phone and text it to you? Is that okay?
That's a problem, Stacy.
Well,
And we come across that quite often too. We have to have every page of your bank statement. It's not because we're nosy, it's because underwriting requires it. We have to see every deposit, we have to see withdrawals, that'll be another episode.
So no blacking out of the transactions.
blocking.
And believe us, we don't care how many times you've done Grubhub.
Right, we don't care about
We have
that.
our liquor delivered too.
We don't care.
Even if the last page is blank, it's an advertisement. I get that all the time. It's just
Yes.
an advertisement. How do we know that? How do we know page 6 of 6 didn't have a Lamborghini car loan,
Absolutely.
another mortgage payment, and other debts, a home equity loan? So every page is required, even if it's just advertisements, just to make sure.
Well, and we all just did our continuing education, so this is top of mind for me. 90% of our job has to do with making sure people aren't laundering money.
Yes.
And so they really put a lot of emphasis on that, not just where the borrower is coming up with the cash, but is there anything fishy going on with where that cash is coming from? So there were a lot of requirements when it comes to that. And the other issue I wanted to mention real quick is about that screenshot, is that just shows the balance in an account. It doesn't tell us it's your account. It doesn't give us the account number. It doesn't give us any of the information that the underwriter's looking for. So yeah, that's very frustrating when we get that.
And if we can talk about frustrating, let's go into gift funds, because sourcing funds is always fun, but gift funds, they're extra special.
Oh, they're extra special.
So on gift funds, it is absolutely fantastic if you have a family member who's willing to help you out to purchase your first home. However, it takes more than them just writing you a check and you putting it into the bank. We actually have to source their funds too. So that means Mom and Dad are going to have to give us a bank statement to be able to show where that money came from, especially with government loans. And I hate to say it, but if they give you a gift for $10,000 and 3 days just before they gave you that gift, they put $10,000 in the bank, we're going to have to source that too. So there are steps that go with that. Now, in some cases, we don't have to get quite so much documentation. Sometimes we can send the gift funds directly to the title company.
That's the
Yeah,
easiest
Right,
way.
and that is
directly.
right. That is the easiest way. Some loans will allow us to do that, but we still have to show that they had the money to give to begin with. Just the fact that the check cleared or a canceled check is not enough. And gift funds have to come from somebody with a relationship. You know, it can't be some guy walking down the street that you met that just happened to win the lotto and is giving you $10,000. It needs to be a family member. Some cases we can accept employers, things like that, but it does. We do need to have some type of relationship along with the gift funds.
Yeah, even if it's like a fiance or something like that, we have to show like a save the date card or something that shows
Yes,
that
we've
you are
had
going to get
do
married.
that.
Right.
We have had
Absolutely.
to do that.
And
Yeah.
listen, I understand how hard it is to get documentation, especially from your older parents. My parents, my father would absolutely say it's none of their business.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
get that
But-
all the time.
Listen, as loan professionals, I probably have had that conversation. I can't tell you how many times. So if you're having difficulty with your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your dad, let us take a shot.
Right.
Because we may be able to explain it a little bit better and maybe make them feel a little bit more reassured, because we laugh and we joke, but that is important information. And with the things that are going on, I can certainly understand why people might be a little prickly about giving us that information, but just lean on us to try to help with that.
Because we can take it maybe direct if they don't want to share those documents with their children.
Correct.
Or
Yeah.
their,
Absolutely.
You know, their family members. They can
Absolutely.
send it directly to us, and then you
It
know,
helps
that-
ease it a little.
Yes,
don't see it.
And a lot of
absolutely.
times that's the issue. Mom
Yeah.
and dad don't want you to know all of their business.
Oh,
Right.
what's in their account?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People also ask, or the donors also ask, am I gonna be taxed on this? How
Ah.
much can I give? Am I gonna
Yeah.
be taxed? We are not accountants.
Right.
Right.
We are
Talk
not
to your
going give
CPA.
advice. So I always tell them, reach out to your CPA for guidance on that. But you're not necessarily, we're not gonna report this to the IRS.
No.
That mom and dad gifted their daughter $10,000. We don't report any of that. But they need to talk to their accountant about any tax ramifications. Don't ask us.
And also, it needs to be a gift. Mom and
Oh,
dad
yeah,
can't
it's
write
not
a
a
letter
loan.
saying, she's going to start paying me back. A true
That's right.
gift needs to be a true gift.
Right.
So another source that people use for down payment can be a 401k or an IRA, some kind of retirement fund. And that's a perfectly acceptable source of funds. We just have to document what the terms are of withdrawal. What is it? Is there a loan that has to be paid back when they withdraw? Can it be withdrawn? Are there taxes that have to be paid on it? Just so we know what the net source is going to be for that. And then also we have to track the funds. We have to show it coming out of the IRA account and then into your bank account. So an IRA or 401k is also a very good source of funds.
Also, you can do assets, sale of your assets. Say you sold a boat or a car. You just want to make sure that we track those sales. So if you sold, your motorcycle and it didn't have like a title or whatever, you want to make sure that you have a bill of sale, and you want to make sure that you deposit that whole amount. So say they give you $5,000 in cash and they wrote you a check for another $2,000, and then they gave you, something else in trade. You want to make sure that you deposit that whole amount. So if it was a $10,000 sale, don't deposit $9,300 because you wanted to take $500 out or whatever for your, something else. Make sure you just deposit it all and you track it and make sure that it all connects, because if it doesn't connect, we're going to have issues with where that money came from.
So in that sale situation, you want the contract purchasing it, and then you want to see the funds received exactly as it matches the contract.
Well, and in some
That makes
cases,
sense.
we actually prove that what they sold is worth what they paid.
Right.
Yes,
So
an
we're going
appraisal.
to
Certificate of
Is that
value.
like those snakes?
Yeah, we're going to go.
Yeah, we
yeah.
have to get an appraisal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
there
have to
you
go
go.
get, like
From the
something from
pet store.
Kelly Blue Book to see what your
If it's a
car
car, right.
work, how you sold your car for $50,000 and it was a 1999,
Pinto?
Pinto. Pinto was my first car,
Also, people can also get loans for cash to close. An example would be people could take a home equity loan out on their house and then pull the equity out of their cash for their down payment. What's important to know is we can do that. We just need the terms of any loan, just like you said with the 401k. So we're going to get the terms of pulling the money off the home equity loan, and we're going to count that monthly payment as a debt to make sure they qualify, because they do have to pay it back. And there is other secured assets people can borrow against. just reach out to us directly. We have a list of what is acceptable sources of funds to close and what are not. Don't make an assumption before asking us first. And something else to remember is sometimes it's not just the source of funds for closing, but some loans require reserves. So what reserves means to the investor is different property types, especially when you're buying investment property. They want to make sure that you have funds available should something fall apart. For example, an investment property, what if you don't rent it right away? Or what if the tenants in there decide to stop paying? They want to know that you have funds somewhere and the ability to continue to make the payments. And it's not just for investment properties, it's all different types of property types. It could be, if you're liquidating every penny you have to buy the house and your ratios are questionable, your credit's questionable, Fannie and Freddie will want us to see that they have a 401k that has liquidity in it, so they have emergency funds. We don't know those things until we take the application and run it through the decision engine. So if you have to have 6 months reserves or 2 months reserves, there are acceptable sources for reserves and unacceptable sources. So please reach out to us if you need reserve funds as well, because it's a little different.
So let's talk a minute, ladies, about that cash that they've got stuffed away somewhere in the backyard, under the mattress. What do we do with that?
Well, it's very important that they reach out and talk to us, because in some cases, if they put all that money in the bank at once and we cannot paper trail that money, then they can't use it. We can't source it. And I appreciate a lot of waitresses and things maybe take their tips and throw them in a jar. But unless they were tracking every night with a log that said, on this date, I put X amount of dollars in that, and we have a full track, which most people don't have that, then they need to speak with us, because we can go back to what Stacy was talking about earlier, how they can deposit it in the bank safely, with being able to not worry about having to source it. In some cases, they may have to wait a couple of months to season those funds.
But talk to us first, because we have creative ways of using
To help guide.
Mattress Money. And please don't have Mattress Money. I hear it more and more and more. And I tell people,
People are
please
afraid
have
of
it in a
banks.
fireproof safe or fireproof, waterproof safe. Because if your house or apartment burns down, the money
There
burns
goes your money.
with it.
Right.
A lot of people are keeping cash at home, and it scares me half to death.
Me too.
So I tell them just to put it in a financial institution, but again, we have creative ways to sometimes maybe overcome Mattress Money.
Yes.
So bottom line is, source of funds is a really big topic. It's a very important topic, and it's one that we as loan officers are really going to dive into: where your money's coming from, when you have it, where is it at, are you getting any extra money, every little aspect of it. But it's not to be nosy. It's to be able to help you structure the best loan for you and not have a loan suddenly denied because, boom, here was this big $20,000 deposit into their bank account. So we've discussed the source of funds as far as what it is, gift letters, the 401k, assets that can be sold and tracking those. You can get a loan as long as it's secured loan. But really the key to all of this is just have that conversation with the loan officer right up front, because that's something that really, really gets scrutinized nowadays.
Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to mortgagechicks.hottips.com.
If you have any questions or ideas for podcasts in the future, please email us at mortgagechicks@vandykemortgage.com.
Be sure to like us on our Facebook page, Mortgage Chicks with Hot Tips.
And don't forget to listen to us on Spotify or wherever else you listen to your podcasts.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.